Thank you for joining us for the second episode of the Saturdad Podcast, your comprehensive guide to separation and part-time parenting made by blokes for blokes. I want to start by saying you are not alone. You have joined a brotherhood of men doing our best to improve ourselves so that we're the best possible fathers we can be to our children. My name's Christian William Wright. This is Neil David Ewan. And today's topic that we want to discuss is how to get through those first few months that can easily turn into those first few years after you've been separated. Yeah, I think that's a very important topic as it can be such a massive shock.
Absolutely.
I don't have the exact statistics on hand, but a significant amount of marriages in particular are ended by the woman in the relationship. This podcast isn't about the reasons behind that. It's about, what to do after it's happened. So because of that situation, for a lot of men, it's a massive shock. All of a sudden, everything's been taken away from their family, their homes. Typically, it is the man that will move out. Access to their children is then inhibited. Work can be affected. Every part of your life will very likely be affected by separation.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we find a way through that's positive, that leads to good outcomes for men and leads to us all thriving again.
Yeah, I think we just want to talk about, how we can handle it and help other people handle it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, Neil, when you went through your separation, it's quite some time ago now. So you've been separated for how long?
About 11 years.
So it might be a little bit remembering back to it, but if you can.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Can you take us through those first couple of months after you were separated?
Well, I think my daughter was about 6 months old when we separated. And it was very hard, mate. And I think I went around it probably the wrong way. I couldn't handle it really. I turned to drugs and which didn't help at all. I had a drug-induced mental illness because of it.
Yeah.
So, I think it was just really hard.
Thank you for telling us that. I mean, that's something that is tempting when we go through these things. The amount of hurt and pain and just general suffering that you go through when it all happens is almost unfathomable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to describe how bad it actually feels.
Yeah, like I said, I did go the wrong way about a lot of things. And things like not showing up on time on the weekend or cancelling because of something else, or you've got too much work on. And these are all things that I thought were important, but were not as important as spending time and actually being there for your kids, for your daughter, which is heartbreaking because it actually does affect them in the long run. You might not think it will, but it 100% does. She remembers everything that happened since she was 3 years old. Wow. Yeah. So, putting things first was definitely the wrong choice. But I always loved her, always tried to show up on time, never meant to cancel on things, Sometimes it was traffic, things like that. But, it made things harder in the long run.
And it's certainly not an indictment on you or people going through it. I think that's really helpful that you're willing to let people know about what happened and what you felt like you did wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you feel like you did right?
Look, I always did try to put her first. I was always hands on with her. When I had my time with her, it was great. Like I took her to places we could interact. I took her to see family and friends and made sure she had a bond with everyone else as well in the family. I was always loving, always caring, always trying to make her laugh. I think we did have a very strong bond. Yeah.
And that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you showed up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's yes. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing, man. Like I got a lot of anxiety before, sitting in the car with a coffee, just waiting to see my daughter. I hadn't seen her all week, and it was a struggle. It really was. Yeah.
Yeah, there is so much anxiety around it.
There is, yeah.
Especially when you haven't seen your daughter for a few days or something like that. Just sitting there and just thinking, who's around my daughter? Why aren't I with her?
Yeah.
It's primal instincts. That's one thing I want to stress to men is how you feel in that situation, that really uncomfortable, horrible feeling. I mean, if you think back to when we were primates, if you subscribe to that theory, you got to think out in the wild there. If something's going to attack your child, you're going to be ready to fight constantly. You're going to be in that fight or flight, ready to go.
Absolutely.
And having your child not in your care, I mean, it's going to trigger the same thing.
And it does, yeah.
And then you've also got the added level of whenever you want to see your child, someone who has betrayed you, which is probably the worst thing someone can do to someone else. But, Dante put betrayal at the bottom of hell for a reason. It is probably the harshest sin, it's the worst thing you can do to someone. You have to see that person who betrayed you, who may, especially at the beginning, be an adversary in some way as well, that has some sort of power over you. Essentially, they've got power over your child.
Yeah.
It's quite scary. You worry about navigating that situation. How am I going to do this without upsetting her so I can see my child?
Yeah, and there was a few situations where she, like my ex, had got new partners and things like that, and that's exactly what happened. It was, my fight or flight sort of kicked in, and I was aggressive, and it was the wrong choice. But yeah.
Thank you for telling us that. I mean, that is another challenge that we all have to face is the new partner. I mean, that is going to evoke those feelings, those primal feelings that are in there. That's someone that you don't know, you haven't vetted around your child, and often that person's around your child more than you are.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it. You don't know them, you're worried, but also you went through the family court. You fought for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You fought for a day, and then this person's getting them whenever they want.
Yeah.
And they're not even your child.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not even the father. So one thing I like to think about with that scenario is that there is no one in this world that can ever take away the title of father from you. It is up to you to prove you're worthy of that title. That's something that I tell myself when I feel those feelings kicking in and I worry that I'm going to act uncivilized or poorly, you know what I mean, around these things, is I just sit there and go, no, I am not that. I am a great father. My daughter loves me and I need to turn up.
That's a beautiful thing. What are some of the things you did to try and cope with all that and help?
It was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
It was a level of hell I didn't know I'd ever have to walk through.
Yeah.
I really just was not prepared for it anyway. I didn't do the most productive things either. For me, my emotional regulation was gone. I was a mess. I was, on the floor, not wanting to move one day, just upset, furious the next, angry beyond angry than I'd ever been, and then just, non-functional some days. Not turning up to work was a big one. I took so much time off work. I'm lucky I had quite a lot of leave built up, but I ended up getting through that okay. And my bosses, to their credit, extremely supportive and understanding. But, my work, I was starting to fail at work. I stopped going to the gym. I mean, for me, I'm not – I don't drink. I don't take drugs. You guys know. I don't. My friends know. I don't really do anything. It's just I don't know why. I'm not against it. I'm not against having a bev. I just don't. Just don't really.
I drink a lot and I'm against it. It makes people ugly, to be honest.
It can. It absolutely can if not used.
And to be dependent on something like that is no good thing for raising children and
proactive sort of life.
Yeah. But work was a big thing for me too. Like I really struggled with work.
Yeah.
It affects your life in every way.
Every single aspect.
Yeah. And you just can't wait till you see them again or, and there's so many blokes going through it, mate. It's horrible.
A way I like to conceptualize it that's really helped me working through it recently is that I view it as a death. I mean, that sounds quite intense, but the emotions you feel are grief when it happens. You go through the stages of grief. You go through bargaining. You go through, sadness. You go through anger. Finally, you hit acceptance.
Yeah.
At some point, you want to hit acceptance.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I haven't hit acceptance. I float somewhere between sadness and bargaining still, which is a lot to say considering how intense my separation has been, but that's where I am. It is like a death. You have died. That life that you built doesn't exist anymore. And no matter what you do to hold on to it, no matter how much you want it back, all those beautiful moments that you had with your family, I'm sorry, they're gone. So conceptualizing it as I died has now enabled me to be reborn. And this is my rebirth. This process, I only became a play therapist in July. I was separated in January. It gave me that push towards what I always wanted to do, which is, work proactively with children, heal them, get them up and
helping
running.
others.
Helping others.
Yeah.
There's another fantastic way of getting through.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah.
Helping others.
Which is God's work.
Yeah.
God's work, I like to call it.
Absolutely.
Helping others and, helping them get through. And if we can do that with this book, then that'd be great. And,
100%. Yeah, if you were to conceptualize it as something, I guess, non-religious, because we appreciate not everyone out there is religious. That reciprocal relationship that you build with people around you, they're going to get you through. You can lean on your friends. That's a big thing that you all need to do is lean on your networks, your
Absolutely.
social networks, your family networks.
Yep.
Anyone that is willing to be to be there with you through this process. There will be times where you don't have strength. Even the stoutest of men, the most steadfast, the strongest, the toughest amongst us, there will be a moment in this process where that strength wanes. Lean into those networks. For me, as odd as it is, I'm part of a fencing group and I fight with long swords, like medieval long swords. It always sounds funny when I say it, but it's so fun. It's the old German long sword. I've got it's proper steel swords. I'm not doing any of that rubber stuff and foam and nonsense. It's just steel swords and armor.
It's pretty cool.
It is good fun.
Yeah.
But that group of friends, they turned up for me when things really went wrong. I met my boss through that group of friends who was been a huge supporter in helping me become a play therapist. All kinds of things came through that social network that is such an odd one. So even a sports team, join a sports team, I don't like to say the pub because you run the possibility of engaging in some less than, good behaviors. But, even if it's a trivia group and you can manage it, get together, get some mates.
Absolutely. And I can't stress that enough either. I think friends and family, don't be afraid to reach out to them. And,
hugely important.
Talk about what you're going through. That's a big thing as well. Like, it's okay not to be okay. So
it really
just
is.
Talk about it. I'm sure there's someone who will listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it off your chest and then you're right for the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And if you have to get it off again, get
Absolutely.
it off again. Yeah. It's okay with you, Neil. I'd like to sort of just touch on something you brought up. It's a bit sensitive. You spoke about your drinking and stuff throughout that process and using it to cope.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on a bit of a theory around that that I think is productive for people to hear. I mean, drinking's fun, right? You get pissed, you have a great time with your mates. It's for the most part, for most people, it's bloody fun.
That's the idea behind it, yeah.
And the best part about it, right, is those horrendous feelings that you feel constantly are dulled, they're gone. You don't feel them. Like I know when I get pissed, and although I don't really drink, you guys know it, every now and then I'll just have a night where I go, I'm going to get pissed, why not? When I get proper pissed, I have a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a piece of shit. That's the main reason I don't do it.
That's why it's great.
Yeah. That's the main reason I don't do it is I just have no empathy for anyone. I'm just a jerk. So it's the main reason I don't do it. But I have a great time and I don't feel anything while I'm doing it, right? So it kind of dulls that pain that you're feeling. But the issue with dulling pain and more consistently and dulling it over, months to years.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And worse, when you decide it's time to face that pain or when you're forced to face that pain, it's so much worse than it ever was to begin with.
Yeah.
it grows and it festers over years and years until it's a monster that you feel like you can't slay. You can, but you feel like you can't.
Yeah.
That's the issue. The way I conceptualize that for me is like I have to stare into it as something. I mean, I'm a big fan of Nietzsche. I put a little quote in the book, I suppose, but you know, you have to stare into the void. But when you stare into the void will stare back into you. It will hurt like hell to deal with those emotions and think about what you did wrong and why it's your fault, you know, and what the other person's doing to you and how unfair it is. It's gonna hurt. It's meant to.
And I think this is something that I only realized recently from talking about it with my friends and all this sort of stuff. The bigger picture is, just numbing things, and it makes it so much worse. And drinking, it changes your mindset. It's not helpful. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You're better off cold turkey and putting yourself into something else, like working out or whatever floats your boat, really. But something else, a different outlet.
Yeah, more, I guess a more productive outlet.
More productive.
Would be the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you like the thing is, don't get us wrong. I can appreciate why you would start drinking with how much it hurts.
Yeah.
But you got to face it. You got to stare it in its ugly fucking head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no nice way of saying it. I did it. So we were meant to be getting married in Fiji this year, and I chose to still go on that trip, knowing full well that was going to hurt. I went to the resort. Like I stayed in the resort where we were going to get married with my family that had booked a trip there purely to come to that wedding.
Would have been hard.
I went to the chapel we were going to get married in on the day we were meant to be getting married. They had mocked it up, but there was no wedding that night. Of course, I knew that. It was meant to be mine. I went to that chapel. I sat in that chapel and just felt how terrible it was that wasn't going to be my life anymore. I went to the reception venue. It was just so hurtful. And then I just bawled my eyes out, I'll be honest. I just let it all out. I let myself feel every minute of that. And then the next day I went swimming with bull sharks, 60 bull sharks, because, you know, I had to get my toughness back somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. You're still a man.
Still got to be a man. Yeah, it's all right to feel it. Yeah, I'm joking.
I would have, I don't know, honestly, if I would have had the balls to do that, that's staring it right in the face. And
it is.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do, and you do have the balls to do that.
Yeah.
I know you do. I know you. I know the real you. I've known you for 21 years.
Yeah.
You absolutely do, and everybody out there does. You don't know what you're capable of. You have no idea until you have to know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
That's what this situation's doing to us. It is making us face parts of our psyche, our genetics, because this stuff has biological impacts. Don't even get me started on that. Parts of you that are in there dormant that you would never, ever activate if you didn't go through this.
Yeah.
An element of that is exciting. You know, I mean, it hurts like hell, and it's like, you know, cutting away flesh to get to the tumor that hurts to cut the tumor out to make you healthy again. It's like that, and doing it with no freaking anesthetic, because there's no psychological anesthetic. Like we said, drinking just dulls it. You're just digging into it, you know, and it's full on. But after it, something new comes out. Something better, because around every dragon there's a pot of gold, there's treasure. That's why the dragons guard the treasure.
I would agree with that.
So that's a good way of getting through.
Yeah.
Face the issue. Face it head on. It's so important. Don't let it sit there and fester. Another thing that I think is really important to do then is you're in a situation where you've had everything taken from you. That life... that life that you had, you've lost all of that, right? You lost your family, you lost likely your house, your partner, your access to your kids, superannuation. God, let's go on. Everything to do with that life.
Everything.
We conceptualized it as you died. Fucking now what? What do you do now? So that's the next step. You need to come up with a vision for your future that is positive, healthy, productive, that sees you thriving and having time with your child.
Make a plan.
Make a plan. Make a plan. Simple as that. Well, I say that. It's not simple, is it? You know what I mean? It's not simple.
No.
You had a life that you thought
theory.
was it. Yeah. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I still haven't found what my plan is for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
That's it. And that's 11 years on.
But the thing is, know what I have to do, just don't exactly know how to do it yet.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way to be able to do that.
Mm.
There's a couple of different ways to do it. I mean, personally, I meditate daily, multiple times a day. I do a series of different types of meditations, and my meditations aren't about completely clearing my mind. They're just about decluttering for the minute so that the path reveals itself, so that what I really want, my truest thought, what I'm really looking for now that everything's gone, reveals itself. And I do that a few times a day, and sometimes it reveals itself. Sometimes my brain's too much chaos to deal with it. I drink way too much coffee. Sometimes I just can't relax. I'm so jittery all day, but that's a good way of doing it. There's some other things out there as well. I mean, you can look to ancient knowledge. You can look to the stories of the Bible and the Quran, the Taoist teachings, any of those sorts of things. They all describe ways of finding the path to your future. Look, there are some exercises out there, like one that is available in psychotherapy, where you think about you have to confront what happened, and potentially what you did wrong. You have to look at those not so desirable personality traits that led to that outcome, how you acted, your actions that led to that outcome. And then you devise a plan for your future where you address those particular things that went wrong in the past and work to eliminate them from your personality or manage them, is another sort of good technique. Another one, pick a path and walk it.
Yeah.
Pick a path and walk it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know where I got this one from. I think this one, I was watching just a TikTok on Shaolin monks, right?
Yeah,
and it was like one of the Shaolin monk they're bad motherfuckers. They kick the shit out of him. It was one of them blokes. Like, they're like 5 foot tall and they'll kill a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was watching him talking, and he said just pick a path and move forward, because at least you're going straight. If you don't pick a path, if you keep getting sidetracked and picking up all these different weird paths, you end up going in a circle, which is even worse. You end up at the exact same place you were at the start of the trip. You know what I mean? That's way worse. So pick a path and move forward. And often what you find is that first path leads to another path, then leads to another path, and leads to another path, and then you find the path you were meant to be on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find the meaning. So
I like that. It's interesting. Yeah.
Moving forward. That's important. That positive vision of your future, where you're thriving, because you deserve it. Every single human being deserves it.
Absolutely.
Which leads me to another good point. What's the verse? I really like it. It's something like, to he who has much, more will be given. To he who has nothing, even what little he has will be taken away. It's a Bible verse, Matthew something. They nickname it Matthew's Law. But it's essentially saying that, and you'll know this, you'll feel this in your life, you've done it a million times, the more wins you get, the more you win, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're on an upward spiral, it just seems shit just falls into place.
Yeah,
like you get the
you keep
job, it's
going up.
awesome, and then you start making more cash, that's sick, and then all of a sudden that chick you like's interested in you, and then this happens. It seems to flow on.
Yeah.
So you need to get some wins on the board.
Yeah.
And you also notice when you're depressed, when you're engaging in something called rumination, and when I say rumination, it's just sitting there thinking about all the shit things that happen to you on repeat.
Yeah.
You paralyze yourself with it. You don't move.
You do, yeah.
Your life gets worse because you stop turning up to work.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
You start making less money.
Yeah.
You don't turn up to work. You fucking, you chuck on weight. You don't feel good anymore. You become less desirable to the people you want to be desirable to. We all want partners, all that. I mean, it just gets worse and worse. So you need wins. You need to get wins on the board. And it depends on how bad shit's gotten. Like if you've been sitting there ruminating for years and you're an absolute mess of a human being and you're living in a shit house and everything's a mess, why don't you start by setting an alarm and getting out of bed at a certain time? First win. Because you haven't done that in years.
Yeah.
That's a win. Well done.
Yeah.
Congratulate yourself. Once you get out of bed, have a shower. Because if you're really depressed and down, people who are depressed and down don't shower. They just flop in a bed. Have a shower.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Win number 2. Next thing you know, you're washing the dishes, you're getting food, you're making your bed, you're back out in society. Win after win after win.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for. Get those first wins on the board after so much loss.
Yeah. And that's the way you need to look at it. Like every little chore, every little thing you do is a win.
100%.
And if you keep doing them one after the other, then yeah, you're winning.
Exactly right. You're on a winning streak. And it happens. Try it. It'll all flow on. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing how it works. Just start with the little things.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can sort of say is it just depends on where you're at. For me, the wins were starting to turn up to work again. Yeah. I wasn't to the point where I was completely paralyzed, but I wasn't in a good spot. So going back to work again was a big win. Yeah. I started just getting back into that routine. Eating again. I stopped eating. I was just a mess. Just starting to eat, having to force myself to do it. But I forced myself to do it knowing it was a win. And I've put on quite a bit of muscle since then. I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I'm not a little fella anymore, So, I was just pushing little win after little win.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next thing. Hit the gym.
Hit the gym.
Learn how to fight.
Pump some weights. Pump some irons.
Yeah. Learn how to fight.
Yeah. Learn how to fight. That's a good one.
That's a good one. You're doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just instinct, really, to want to know how to fight and protect, your kids and yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
It awakens something in you. We sort of touched on it before about the primal anxiety, that protection instinct that we have as men when we don't have our children with us. Channeling that into fighting will start to make you feel capable and formidable. That's important. I want to say that. I'll say it again. Capable and formidable is what we're aiming for. Not dangerous, not violent, not aggressive, not the best fighter in the world, not showy, not arrogant, all those things that can sometimes come along with combat sports. If you've ever been in the game, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're talking about capable and formidable because you cannot underestimate the evil a coward is capable of. You cannot underestimate it. They're the most dangerous people in the world, cowards, because they're reactionary.
Yeah,
and they react to in the most extreme way possible because they're scared everything's going to attack them all the time.
Yeah, right,
If you're no longer that scared, it will help you manage any anger and aggression you have. There's no longer any anxiety, there's no longer any fear because you're out there going, all right, shit goes down, I'll probably knock out most of these people.
Yeah.
And you don't think it arrogantly.
You feel safe in yourself.
Safe, that's what I'm looking for. Not in an arrogant way, just I'm capable. If shit goes down, I'm in, whatever.
What are they going to do?
Yeah. And then you've taken a bunch of hits, so you know how it feels.
Yeah.
You're
not made of glass.
You're not made of glass,
No.
I mean, it's not great. I don't like getting hit.
No. I don't think anyone likes getting hit in the face.
You never will.
Well, I like the adrenaline that you get from it, but yeah.
Exactly right, but it's not like you get hit in the face.
No.
But like, you cop a few hits and you understand that if you cop a few hits, you're going to survive, most likely.
Absolutely.
That helps. It humbles you as well if you start getting arrogant.
Yeah.
That part of it's fantastic. And then just feeling capable changes you as a person. The scariest motherfuckers in the world are the kindest ones, you know what I mean? They're always so chill, they're a vibe, they're all that, because they know they could rip your head off if you start any shit, so what are they worried about?
Yeah.
The fear's not there.
Yeah.
Take fear out of the equation. The primary emotion you can live on is love. Does that make sense? They're the polar opposites of each other.
Yeah. They're normally so good with the kids as well. Oh, little darling, how are you, sweetheart?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They don't have that fear. So if you can become capable and formidable and you use it for good, then you're unstoppable. That's what a real man is.
Absolutely.
A real man isn't, weak. He isn't incapable of fighting. He isn't incapable of losing his temper because one day someone might attack your family or attack someone around them. They may need to lose their temper. Yeah. They may need to go ape mode to take care of it.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's right.
It's not – a good man isn't a weak man. That's all I'm trying to say. No. So as you're rebuilding yourself, incorporate the gym, incorporate fighting, incorporate things that make you capable because it spills into the rest of your life.
Absolutely. There'll be weak moments, of course.
Absolutely.
And you'll fall, but you got to get back up.
You do.
And
that's the point.
Keep on keeping on.
That's the point of a combat sport.
Yeah.
Teaches you how to lose.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to freaking lose.
Yeah.
God, I've had my ass handed to me more than I've handed asses.
Yeah.
That's for sure, but it's made me a better human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it teaches you that discipline. Like I just go to gym. I don't need motivation. I just go.
Yeah.
I go to my training on Mondays now. I've scaled back all the other combat because I was just getting too injured, but I'd go to my training on Mondays with the fencing, and I hit the bag every single time I go to gym at minimum, just to make sure the skills are still there. I'm still nice and twitchy and quick. That's all still there. You know what I mean? You just start doing it. It's shit for the first month though. God, it's shit because you're going. It's a shock to the system. So you're like, why would you do this? It hurts. I'm exhausted. It's shit. Then you get addicted. Yeah, the adrenaline kicks in, and you're just like, oh.
I like that quote from Rocky, whereas, what is it? It ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning's done.
That is how winning is done.
It's a beautiful quote.
It sums it up. Yeah. It sums up what you have to do now.
Yeah.
You have an adversary, and you sit there and you think your adversary is your ex-partner. Your adversary is the family law court. Yeah. Your adversary is the police if they're involved in whatever level. They're your adversaries. It's you. You're your adversary.
Yeah.
I'm about to Nietzsche again. I'm about to Nietzsche. Fucking Nietzsche. It's just helpful. What did he say? It was like, if you think somebody's ruining your life, you're right. It's you.
Yeah, right. Oh, that made me think that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a bloody good one.
That is good.
Yeah, so these are things that you can control to create a more positive version of yourself. And that's what we want. That will make you a better father.
Yeah.
The best people you'll ever meet are the ones who have had the absolute shit kicked out of them.
Absolutely.
And have decided not to be a piece of shit because of it.
Yeah.
They keep going, they keep fighting, they keep moving.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that will keep true evil at bay.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome. I'm just going to check my phone for a minute. I do have some more points that I wanted to raise in this podcast. Do you have anything else that you can think of that will help?
That will help. I think we've covered everything that I can think of.
We have. I did have another one that I wanted to cover. You need to either create or reaffirm your identity.
Yeah.
Because, we touched on one of my motivations for doing this podcast and working with you on the book and working with you on the resources and everything is that I believe the current system comes from a place where they think men are inherently wrong. Our toxic traits are, our masculine traits are toxic, that sort of thing. I feel like the current resources around are designed to break us, are designed to say part of our fundamental identity is incorrect. It isn't.
No.
You need to channel it correctly.
Yeah.
Like, part of my desire to do this comes from anger. I'm not happy with how the system's treating me. I'm not happy having lost my family. I'm angry about it.
Yeah.
I'm angry about my treatment, all that sort of stuff. Now, what can you do with anger? You can, get aggressive with the ex-partner's new partner. You can smash things. You can swear. You can be a delinquent in society. You can do all kinds of stuff with anger that's terrible.
Feels good at the time.
Yeah, it's a release.
Yeah,
but it's terrible, right?
Good.
Or channel that anger as a motivational force, which is something men are capable of. Your high-performing, hyper-competitive men, toxic masculinity, they're running sometimes on anger. They're like, I need to do this to spite that weak version of myself, to spite those people who said I couldn't. I'm going to do it in spite of what you said. Yep. That's spite. That's a form of anger. You're running on anger. Yeah. So this, for me, this is a form of protest against the people who say I'm fundamentally wrong. I'm not. I'm channeling this anger into helping as many people around me understand you are not fundamentally bad as a human being. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So channel it. It's a big thing with your anger. It's okay to feel it. It's not toxic. It's only toxic if you use it to beat the shit out of people who don't deserve to be beaten, have the shit beaten out of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Some fucking do.
Yeah.
And then how is that toxic? You stop that piece of shit. I'm just going to check this thing again because I've lost my point. But reaffirm your identity. So coming back to that. So reaffirming your identity. If you believe that you're a good person, which I believe, I don't believe I'm a good person. This is how I structure my belief about myself. And I do it to avoid a crisis of self. A crisis of self is where you can't comprehend the actions that you have done because they don't align with your vision of yourself. Say you think you're the best bloke in the world, and then you piss off this other person over there, you won't be able to fathom that you did it because you're like, well, I'm a great guy. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have caused that person any harm. Well, you did. You're the villain in that person's story. That's okay. Sometimes you're going to be the villain in someone's story.
Yeah.
You know, you need to accept that about yourself. So for me, I say I'm not a good man, but I try to bring as much good into the world every day as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easier standard to live up to because none of us are good. None of us are truly good. I'm sorry. It's just the reality of it.
Absolutely.
They conceptualize it in the Bible as original sin, right?
Yes.
Like we're all born of sin. They're not saying that babies are sinners. That's not what that means. That means that fundamentally we're all going to fuck up.
Yeah.
That's all it means.
Absolutely.
And we all do. So if you're sitting there going, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, you're going to hate yourself.
Yeah.
Leads to self-loathing, crisis of self, bang, off you go. Not interested in that. So that's how I conceptualize that. But also I do more good than bad in the world.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do this sort of stuff. I'm a play therapist. I'm a case manager for complex mental health. I work with the people that people don't want to deal with to try and make them win. I'm trying to be good.
Yeah.
So how do you reaffirm your identity? Through your actions.
Yes.
Your actions speak louder than your words. And the other thing is your actions speak louder than anybody else's words.
Yeah.
Your ex is going through the same grieving process you are. Even if she wasn't necessarily aggressive to you in the relationship, they were never overly harsh, it just didn't work for whatever reason, they're going to slip into anger at some point in that grieving process.
Yeah.
And they're going to act with such vitriol that you won't be able to comprehend that's the same person that did it. Like it's just part of the game. And you'll find yourself feeling that angry.
Absolutely.
You need to, that person may go out there and attempt to assassinate your character. They may go out to friends that you have, family members, all that sort of stuff and say, he's an abuser. He's a piece of shit. He hit his kids. He hit me. He did all this. And it won't be true. It may not be true for you.
Yeah.
But they're saying it anyway, and all of a sudden, this guy that was once a pillar of the community, everyone thinks is a piece of shit. Through your actions, prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Reaffirm your identity as someone trying to do good every day.
Yeah.
And do it through doing good acts. Volunteer, not even just volunteer, turn up for your mates when they need you.
Absolutely.
That's grassroots, everyday, small acts of kindness that make a good man.
Yeah.
That's Tolkien.
I agree with all that, 100%.
That's Tolkien said that. Yeah, it was one of his principles for the Lord of the Rings, is that the everyday acts of everyday people make for a beautiful world. Those really kind, beautiful. Small actions.
Yeah.
Just do that. Turn up for your mates. That proves you are not what they say you are.
Yeah.
Turn up for your community if you can. If you have the capacity to do something good in any scenario, do it. Reaffirm who you are.
Yeah.
It's in there. And then all of a sudden their stories unravel, right?
Yeah.
All that shit they were saying, well, I don't think so. That guy has a proven track record of amazing things that he's done in this community. And like, he's my mate. And you're saying he did what? Nah, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Your actions speak louder than anybody's words. That's in the Bible too.
It is.
What is it? Judge them by their actions, isn't it? Not by their sign. Forget that. I don't fucking know.
I'm not sure.
Judge them by their actions is primarily what they're saying with that. And that's so important because that avoids that crisis of self, that splitting you get where you can't believe you did something. Yeah. Once you understand who you are and you prove it through your actions, if you do something shit, you can kind of go, I would do that. That was a shit thing I did. And you can start to heal from those shit things you did by forgiving yourself for doing it.
Forgive yourself, for sure.
You got to forgive yourself.
And if you don't hate yourself for it, then I don't know.
You're probably a piece of shit.
You're probably a piece of shit anyway.
Yeah. You're probably a psychopath. Like you've got no empathy for how you made other people feel. You could be a narcissist where you just think it's everybody else's fault and I'm perfect. That could happen. That's what you are. If you think you're a piece of shit in something, mull it over. Think about it. Think what you could have done better and accept that you did it. You're trying to be good. You're not good. You're just trying.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
That's all you can do.
Something else for those first couple of months. Don't get in another relationship. For fuck's sake, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't. Because it's not going to go well.
No.
It's just
never does.
not. You haven't learnt from the one that just went to shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, have a little rebound fling, you know what? If you think you need it and the other person's consenting and it's all good, maybe, but even that's a little...
Take your time.
Take
your time. Think about the children and how that's going to affect them as well.
Correct.
You know?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
How did it go when you got a partner?
When I got a partner?
Yeah.
Made things worse, made things harder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the same goes the other way around. It made things hard for me when she was dating someone else. Because you're trying to co-parent and and there's someone else in the other person's ear, you know, that isn't a father or the mother of the child. So it just made things worse, really. I wish I'd waited, you know, a reasonable amount of time before getting in a relationship for sure.
And that first relationship, was that your current one that you got into after your ex?
No.
It's another one.
No, that was she was about 3 relationships later.
So let's go through the one after that person. So what was that relationship like?
Not very good.
This is chaos, right?
Chaos, yeah.
Like your head wasn't together yet, eh?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And how can you enter into a relationship when you're not you?
And it ended as quick as it started with most of it. So
like you don't know who you are yet.
No.
Who's this new person outside of that life?
Yeah.
Like and then you go into a relationship.
Yeah.
I can tell you what happened with my only one.
Please do.
Yeah, she was a gorgeous thing and we got along amazingly and seemed like great partner material, all that sort of thing. And then as the relationship progressed, horrendous things kept happening with my separation that put a lot of pressure on me and you know, as she cared so much about me, her as well. And then, it just became her putting me together whenever something horrendous happened. It was so much to put on somebody that I was going through such a hard time and still trying to figure out who I was outside of the relationship. It was just unfair on her. So I did end things and I did it as kindly as I possibly could because you shouldn't be dragging people through the mud when you're rolling around in it. Yeah. You know,
same thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get up. We got to get out of it and we got to be okay first. So
absolutely.
You know, that was a very short-lived relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, for a month of it, I was traveling around the Middle East, which is, some people are like, that was a productive way of dealing with it.
It sounds pretty awesome to me.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Confession.
Yeah.
I was looking for adrenaline. Like I went right next to Israel and I went to like places that they say in guidebooks are extremely scary in the Middle East. Like I went to places that were scary and I did it on purpose. I was limit pushing. I was boundary testing. My appetite for risk was through the roof because I just wanted to feel something other than depressed and hurt, you know? So it wasn't, it was actually quite pathological as to why I did it.
Yeah, right.
When we say pathological too, just for everyone out there, we just mean likely to cause harm, essentially. Like if I had have gone to the wrong neighborhood and said the wrong thing, you know, we all know the stories. Yeah. If I had have actually gone into Israel and gone to a war zone, well, fuck knows what could happen. It's just ridiculous. So it was actually quite pathological as to why I did that. So, but I was away for that whole time. And then, you know, I had like maybe 6 weeks with her and I realized that every conversation we were having, rather than at, you know, the start when we were just having stupid chats about stupid things, turned into like, really intense. Oh, I'm going through this now and it's this and it's that and it's just not good. I wasn't me yet and I'm still not. Yeah. So I think it will be a little bit of time before I'm in a relationship again. But that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it because when I do get into one, I will be more self-actualized. I'll be more me. Yeah. And that's important, to know oneself.
That's very important.
And all the things that we suggested doing to get through separation in today's podcast revolve around getting to know who you are now after this separation. Yeah. And if you're that broken that you're not even there anymore, It's an opportunity. Build yourself into someone new. A good option for that, I mean, you know, for me, you can hear me, I always talk about Nietzsche. Look to the philosophers. Look to the podcasters. There's so many great podcasts there with good masculine role models available to you. I mean, David Goggins, Jocko Willing, you know, those dudes that are just like military, you know, they're absolutely insane, but they're not bastards.
Yeah.
They talk
and they're
about,
not wrong.
They're not wrong. They're talking about making themselves better.
Yeah.
They're talking about not accepting any bullshit from yourself. They're talking about competition with the self to become the best self. That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice. And it's not aggressive and it's not about tearing anyone else down. It's about building yourself up.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You know, they're good role models if you don't want to go to your philosophers that have these ideas and things. Religious texts, I mean, they put forward the idea of strong masculine leaders. Even movies where there's a good, strong male lead, which is, I mean, you know, I could go on for hours about how poor movies have gotten in terms of representing men. I mean, you can all see it in every film that's out there. This particular agenda that films seem to have behind them at the moment is quite disappointing. But I mean, there are so many great characters that have been created. That archetypal male hero is a good man who, in the face of such terrible circumstances, rises to the occasion. Well, you're in the terrible circumstances now. Rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I think that's a good note to end this podcast on.
I think so, man. Yeah.
Thanks so much for being with me here again today, Neil.
That's right, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate our friendship and these amazing things we've created together, and you being so candid and open with your experience. I think hearing that will help a lot of men. It's things that a lot of us are going through.
That's what I'm hoping it does, man. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And I'm happy to do it. And thank you for being here.
No, absolutely. To everyone out there, remember you're not alone. You're part of a brotherhood of Saturdads. And we're all working hard on ourselves. We're all in this together. Let's get better for our children. Thanks, everyone. Saturdads. Bye.